Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. Thank y'all for joining me again today as we continue to go through the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Today we're going to be jumping into the 5th chapter, which I will be reviewing next week, on the thought factor in achievement. That's the name of the title, or the name of the title of the chapter, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you everybody that's been participating on the websites and the YouTube and actually jumping on, taking a listen. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you'll enjoy this chapter as much you did the last. So this one's a couple 2-page longer than the other one, so it'll be a little bit longer read, but that's not a bad thing. So here we go. This is the 5th chapter of James Allen's book, As a Man Thinketh, titled The Thought Factor in Achievement. All that a man achieves and all that he fails to achieve is a direct result of his own thoughts. In a justly ordered universe where individual responsibility must be absolute, a man's weakness and strength, purity and impurity are his own and not another man's. They are brought about by himself and not by another, and they can only be altered by himself, never by another. His condition is also his own, not another man's. His suffering and his happiness are evolved from within. As he thinks, so he is. As he continues to think, so he remains. A strong man cannot help a weaker unless that weaker is willing to be helped. And even then the weak man must become strong of himself. He must, by his own efforts, develop the strength which he admires in another. None but himself can alter his condition. It has been usual for men to think and to say, many men are slaves because one is an oppressor. Let us hate the oppressor. Now, however, there is amongst an increasing few a tendency to reverse this judgment and to say, one man is an oppressor because many are slaves. Let us despise the slaves. The truth is that oppressor and slave are cooperators in ignorance and, while seeming to afflict each other, are in reality afflicting themselves. Perfect knowledge perceives the action of law in the weakness of the oppressed and the misapplied power of the oppressor. A perfect love, seeing that suffering, which holds both states in tail, condemns neither. A perfect compassion embraces both oppressor and oppressed. He who has conquered weakness and has put away all selfish thoughts belongs neither to oppressor nor oppressed. He is free. A man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting up his thoughts. He can only remain weak and abject and miserable by refusing to lift up his thoughts. Before a man can achieve anything, even in worldly things, he must lift his thoughts above slavish animal indulgence. He may not, in order to succeed, give up all animality and selfishness by any means, but a portion of it must be at least sacrificed. A man whose first thought is bestial indulgence could neither think clearly nor plan methodically. He could not find and develop his latent resources and would fail in any undertaking. Not having commenced manfully to control his thoughts, he is in a position to control affairs and to adopt serious responsibilities. He is not fit to act independently and stand alone, but he is limited only by the thoughts which he chooses. There can be no progress, no achievement without sacrifice, and a man's worldly success will be in the measure he sacrifices his confused animal thoughts. And he fixes his mind on the development to his plans and the strengthening of his resolution and self-reliance. And the higher he lifts his thoughts, the more manly, upright, and righteous he becomes. The greater will be his success, the more blessed and enduring will be his achievements. The universe does not favor the greedy, the dishonest, the vicious, although on the mere surface it may sometimes appear to do so. It helps the honest, the magnanimous, the virtuous. All the great teachers of the ages have declared this in varying forms, and to prove and know it, a man must but persist in making himself more and more virtuous by lifting up his thoughts. Intellectual achievements are the result of thought consecrated to the search for knowledge or for the beautiful and true in life and nature. Such achievements may be sometimes connected with vanity and ambition, but they are not the outcome of those characteristics. They are the natural outgrowth of long and arduous effort, and of pure and unselfish thoughts. Spiritual achievements are the consummation of holy aspirations. He who lives constantly in the conception of noble and lofty thoughts, who dwells upon all that is pure and unselfish, will, as surely as the sun reaches its zenith and the moon its full, become wise and noble in character and rise into a position of influence and blessedness. Achievement, of whatever kind, is the crown of effort, the diadem of thought, by the aid of self-control, resolution, purity, righteousness, and well-directed thought, a man ascends. By aid of animality, indolence, impurity, corruption, and confusion of thought, a man descends. A man may rise to high success in the world, and even to lofty altitudes in the spiritual realm, and again descend into weakness and wretchedness by allowing arrogant, selfish, and corrupt thoughts take possession of him. Victories attained by right thought may only be maintained by watchfulness. Many give way when success is assured and rapidly fall back into failure. All achievements, whether in business, intellectual, or spiritual world, are the result of definitely directed thought, are governed by the same law, and are of the same method. The only difference lies in the object of attainment. He who would accomplish little must sacrifice little. He who would accomplish much must sacrifice much. He who would attain highly must sacrifice greatly. So, there we go, everybody. Thank you all for jumping on and giving this a listen. I appreciate it, as always, and thank you for everyone for the support and the views and input. So, I appreciate it, and I look forward to our video response next week. So, until next time, thanks.